Emily hated waiting, especially for someone she hadn't even met yet. The cafe smelled like cinnamon and coffee beans, soft jazz playing from the corner speaker. Around her, couples laughed and clinked mugs, while she sat alone at a small round table, staring at the empty chair across from her. Ryan, her blind date, was already 40 minutes late. She checked her phone again. No messages. Nothing. Of course, she muttered, forcing a smile for the waitress. "Can I get the check, please?" Just as she reached for her purse, two identical little girls, maybe 6 years old, walked straight up to her table. They had matching pink coats, matching brown curls, and the kind of confidence only children have. "Are you our new mommy?" one of them asked, blinking up at her. Emily froze, halfway through standing. "I'm sorry, what?" The other twin nodded seriously, clutching a stuffed bunny. "Daddy said we might meet her today. You look like her." Emily blinked, completely at a loss. I think there's been a mistake." "Lily, Sophie," a man's voice called out from the doorway. A tall man with disheveled dark hair and apologetic eyes rushed over, breathless. "Oh my God, girls, I told you to wait outside." He turned to Emily, red-faced. "I am so sorry. You must be Emily. I'm Ryan." This, he pointed to the twins, who were now giggling, was not part of the plan. Emily couldn't help but laugh. "I can see that. They were supposed to stay in the car," he said, running a hand through his hair. "But apparently, they decided introductions couldn't wait." Lily grinned. "We just wanted to see if she was nice." Emily smiled softly. "Well, am I?" The girls exchanged glances and nodded in unison. "You are." Ryan looked mortified, but Emily found herself laughing, a warm, genuine laugh she hadn't felt in months. "You know," she said, gesturing to the empty chair, "since they've already approved me, maybe we should start the date." Ryan smiled, relief flooding his face. "I'd like that." As he sat down, the girls ran off to the pastry counter. Emily glanced after them and then back at him. For the first time in a long while, her heart didn't feel empty. It felt full. Olivia hated blind dates. They always started with hope and ended with regret. But her sister had begged her to try this one. "He's a single dad, kind-hearted, quiet. Just one coffee. You'll thank me later." Now, 40 minutes into sitting alone at the restaurant, Olivia was certain she wouldn't be thanking anyone. The table across from her sat empty, just a wilting flower in a glass and a glass of water that had lost its chill. She checked her phone. No messages. She sighed and stirred her drink. "That's it," she muttered, reaching for her purse. "I'm done with this." Then two tiny voices interrupted. "Are you Olivia?" Olivia looked up to see two little girls, identical twins, maybe 7 years old, standing beside her table. They wore matching denim jackets and bright smiles that didn't match her mood at all. Yes," she said slowly. One girl slid a folded piece of paper across the table. "Daddy said you like strawberry milkshakes." Olivia blinked. "Your daddy?" The other nodded, her curls bouncing. "He's parking the car. He said we should keep you company." Olivia hesitated, torn between confusion and amusement. "Well, that's very sweet of you." The girls sat across from her like little ladies, kicking their feet under the table. One began coloring on a napkin while the other chattered about their dog, Muffin, and how their daddy burned pancakes that morning. By the time their father appeared, Olivia was laughing, really laughing, for the first time in weeks. A tall man stood at the edge of the table, breathless, holding a small bouquet of daisies. "Girls," he said, his voice full of apology, "you weren't supposed to, oh God." He looked at Olivia, cheeks red. "I'm so sorry. I'm Ryan." Olivia chuckled. "They told me. We've already had quite the introduction." The twins looked at him proudly. "We told her you're nice." Ryan groaned. "I swear I raised them better than this." Olivia smiled. "I don't know. I kind of like your welcoming committee." As he sat down, still flustered, the girls giggled and whispered secrets to each other. And somewhere between their laughter and his nervous grin, Olivia realized, maybe this wasn't the disaster she'd expected. Maybe it was exactly what she needed. Nora hadn't been on a date in 3 years. After her divorce, she'd promised herself she was done. No more small talk, no more broken promises, but her best friend had other ideas. Just brunch, Clara had insisted. You don't even have to like him. Just remember what being seen feels like. So here she was, sitting alone at a sunny corner table in a small cafe that smelled of vanilla and hope. Every few minutes, she glanced toward the door, pretending she wasn't nervous. Her coffee was getting cold. The waitress had refilled her water twice. She sighed. He's not coming, she whispered to herself. That's when two little girls appeared beside her table. They were identical. Chestnut curls, matching dresses, freckles like confetti across their noses. Each held a half-eaten muffin. Are you our new mommy? One asked softly, her big brown eyes full of innocence. Nora froze, mid-sip. I'm sorry, what? The other twin nodded solemnly. Daddy said we might meet her today. Before Nora could form a response, a man's voice called from the doorway, breathless and panicked. Girls, what did I tell you about running off? He hurried toward them, tall, a bit scruffy, wearing a flannel shirt and a look of complete embarrassment. I'm so sorry, he said, looking straight at Nora. You must be Nora. I'm Mark. And these two, he motioned helplessly at the twins, don't listen to instructions. Nora blinked, trying to process it all. You mean this was our blind date? Supposed to be, Mark said, rubbing the back of his neck. I just needed a minute to drop them off with my sister, but clearly they had other plans. The twins stood behind him, whispering and giggling. We just wanted to see if she was nice, one explained. Mark sighed, but Nora smiled. Well, she said gently, am I? The girls exchanged a secret look, then nodded. You're perfect. Something in Mark's face softened. He sat down across from her, still flustered, but smiling. And as the twins ran off to choose pastries, Nora felt something she hadn't in years, lightness. Maybe this wasn't the kind of love story she'd expected. Maybe it was better. Claire had already decided this was the last blind date she'd ever agree to. The restaurant was cozy, candlelight flickering off wine glasses, couples leaning in close everywhere she looked, except at her table. The empty chair across from her felt like a cruel reminder that hope could be foolish. 30 minutes. No call, no text, just silence. She sighed, pushing her hair behind her ear. Figures, she muttered. Even my blind dates ghost me. She was about to stand up when two small figures appeared beside her booth. Two little girls, maybe 6, with matching braids, pink sweaters, and the same curious brown eyes. Hi, one said shyly. Hello. Claire blinked, unsure. Can I help you? Are you Claire? Asked the other, clutching a little stuffed fox. Yes, Claire said slowly. The first girl smiled. Daddy said you might be lonely. Claire blinked in surprise. Your daddy? He's outside, said the other confidently. He said he's scared. Before Claire could reply, the door opened. A tall man with dark hair and a sheepish smile stepped inside, clutching a small bouquet of daisies. His eyes met hers, and for a second he just stood there, as if deciding whether to stay or run. Then he walked over, smiling nervously. I swear I didn't send them in as spies, he said. They just got impatient. Claire looked from him to the girls, who were now grinning proudly. So you're their dad, he nodded. Guilty. I'm Adam, and I'm very sorry for being late. There was a flat tire, a mix-up with the babysitter, and, well, life. Claire smiled faintly. They said you were scared. Adam laughed softly. A little. Blind dates aren't easy when your heart's already been broken once. Something in his tone made her chest ache. She glanced at the girls, the way they looked at him with absolute trust, and felt a warmth bloom where disappointment had lived a moment ago. Maybe, she said gently, you should have let them do the talking from the start. Adam smiled, finally sitting down. They usually do. The twins giggled, climbing into the booth beside their dad. And as Claire looked at them, the shy man, the sweet girls, she realized something simple but powerful. Maybe the date hadn't been empty after all. Maybe it was exactly what she'd been waiting for.